What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Charles, and this question came in from Conrad, and he wants to know what's the best oil change interval to follow. He has got a 2011 Dodge 1500, his in-laws have a Chevy Suburban, and both of them have an oil quality monitoring system. This is different from another car that he had that just came on every 5,000 or so miles. So he's got 4 multiple guess answers on which one the best oil change service life is: the vehicle's own oil life determination system, the owner's manual based on mileage or months, the sticker up in the window, or the guy that says change your oil once a year. All right, this is a great question. Let's kind of work backwards. On the guy that says change it once a year no matter what, that's not my favorite one, except in one very certain scenario, and that's cars that aren't driven very much. My GTI is probably a great example of this because it may not see 5,000 miles in a year. It might, but it might not. So no matter what, I'm probably gonna change that oil at least once a year. All right, next is the sticker up in the window. Okay, it really depends here, but that sticker is something someone just either hand wrote or more likely today punched numbers into a little machine and it spit out a sticker. This is the one that has the least amount of R&D and experience and expertise behind it. It is literally beep boop, punching in numbers and it spits out a little sticker, or again, handwritten. So if you're taking it somewhere that knows for sure this is what the mileage interval is supposed to be, it's okay, and that could actually mirror what the manufacturer recommends, but I can't tell you how many times, even at the dealership, we would run into these oil change stickers not having accurate mileage because some cars were 5,000 miles, some cars were 10, some cars back in the day had both, depending on which service it was. It was ridiculous, right? So I don't love that one either, but as I say that, I enjoy having the little sticker up in my windshield if I don't have a reminder. So like my Passat, for example, does have the sticker up in the window. All right, so next is the owner's book, and what does it tell us to do? Is it every 5,000 miles or 6 months, 10,000 miles or 1 year? That's not bad at all. Follow that. The manufacturer does do, at least I hope, a pretty good amount of research on what is the best interval for getting the oil service on this car. So I have no problem at all whatsoever with just straight up following the book and doing it when the book says. In fact, that makes it really easy oftentimes because it is every 5,000 miles, every 10,000 miles, depending on your vehicle. Most owner's books have a section where you can document when you do the service, which makes it almost idiot resistant to not do your services and properly document them. Now let's talk a little bit about the oil monitoring, oil life systems. These are actually really sophisticated systems, much more than you would probably give it credit for. And the reason I like these systems is it takes into account everything. Okay, one of the negatives of the owner's book thing is that it's blanket, whether you live in Phoenix, Arizona or Alaska, 5,000 miles or 6 months, right? With the oil life monitoring systems, these take into account things like idle time, startup temperatures, and warm-up cycles, and distance, and time. It's this whole big giant algorithm that goes into figuring out what is the best for this particular time frame of this vehicle. And companies like Chevy have had this for a really long time, so they've gotten pretty good at this algorithm. And there's some really great resources online. bobistheoilguy.com, I believe is what it is. He talks about this stuff like at an engineering level that's way above my head, but if you really want to get nerdy about it, you can go there and check it out. In addition to that, you can always send your oil out to have it tested. If you're really that concerned, you can send it out to get it tested. But I think these oil life monitoring systems, which are not actually just a simple sensor, they do use calculations from the vehicle's computer to figure out what the best service life is for the oil, which is probably why the indicator came on 4,000 miles after the sticker, because the sticker was written for, I don't know, 3,000 miles, and it could easily last to 7. So I guess what boils down to is, what would I do? Okay, if I had a car that had an oil life monitoring system, I would probably go somewhere in between the hard number of 5,000 miles or 10,000 miles, whatever it is, and what the indicator said, just because it feels more comfortable to me to put a date on the calendar or know a specific mileage that my car's services do. This might be a little bit early, and that's okay. if the indicator came on, the oil life indicator came on, I probably wouldn't go past it. I would probably do it then, but I would be leaning on the hard mileage, hard month, or the oil life indicator, whichever came first. This very well may result in you overchanging your oil from time to time. But I have to say that, guys, it's such cheap insurance to make sure your engine's running properly. 60 bucks a year, 50 bucks a year, 100 bucks a year into a 20, 30, 40, $60,000 piece of equipment that you need in your life to help make it run better for longer. It's not gonna guarantee you're not gonna have problems, but you can almost count on if you don't change your oil, you're gonna have more problems than if you do change your oil. So a little over preventative maintenance, right, is something I would lean on versus pushing it till the absolute limit and hoping I don't have a problem. There's a portion of drivers that can push it to the limit, and that's just fine, and I have no problem with that. These are people that are way more into their car than I think the average driver would be. Now, on the oil life indicator, there is a couple of things that play into that you need to be aware of. What a lot of times these don't account for is if you top the oil off. So if you have a leak or you're burning oil, you know, there could be some discrepancies in there. It's not a perfect system. From what I've seen, these indicators are pretty darn good. So again, if it were me, I would kind of walk the line between those two. While I don't think you need to change your oil every 3,000 miles, I do think that's considerably overdoing it. If you told me, Charles, my oil change interval is 10,000 miles and I'm gonna do it every 5, I would probably give you the old double thumbs up. Tell you that's exactly what I would do if I owned that engine as well. Again, it's cheap insurance to help keep your car running longer. And of course, make sure that you're checking your oil between services. This is very basic stuff, but you don't want to just go that full 5,000, 10,000, 7,000 miles, whatever, without popping the hood and pulling the dipstick and making sure your level is good and there are no weirdness issues, the oil doesn't feel too weird, or it doesn't smell burnt or something like that. You may have other issues as well. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Questions, comments, experience with oil life indicators, go down below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, Snapchat. Don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube or check out HumbleMechanic.com. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.